I'm just wanted to make a short video on we're making a web community to do with hyperinflation and inflation. So it'll be hearing from people in Venezuela, Brazil, here in Australia, the US. Inflation is coming, and it's a bait and switch. If you want to look at COVID and think that it's a drama, it's really naive, because COVID is COVID is what it is. But we get an anti-vaxxer, and I can tell you now, an anti-vaxxer, when they can't buy food, will be the first person in line for whatever they want them to do. I don't know if you've ever been hungry, if you've ever not known where your next meal's coming from. I can tell you it messes with your head, and you will do things you never even thought you were capable of doing. So if while all this is going on, the government, I believe, whoever, pretty slick at hiding inflation, and I personally think we're at a minimum of 30% here in Australia, minimum. And people just don't grasp that, because inflation is something we have no point of reference for, hyperinflation. So, but it's the greatest disaster you may ever see in your lifetime. But this community we're going to put together, it's going to bring life, it's going to bring answers, because it doesn't have to be a failure, it doesn't have to be a disaster if we prepare. If you wake up and it's hit you, then yeah, you're going to have some trouble. But if we start to prepare now, and not by being a prepper, I always tell that story of, in preparing for some of this years ago, I went and bought chickens. I thought, I'm going to bought 13 chickens. The lady guaranteed me that they were all hens. Well, guess what? I got 11 roosters. So I buy 13 chickens, I get 11 roosters, and then one of the hens died. So I think I had one hen in the end. I think she died too. So it was like, yeah, it was a disaster. To be a prepper is it's not bad, but it's not your answer. I know another person bought boatloads of food and stuck it in their basement ready for this, and then the mice got into the food and mold got in there and everything was gone. There is no answer as far as prepper. We don't go in fear, we prepare in faith. But I'm just wanting to give a short little teaser to say there is a community that's being set up. It's going to be you're going to hear from people who have been through currency collapse. They go to bed one morning, they wake up the next morning with a new currency. Millionaires, their wealth gone overnight. Boom, gone. While you sleep, inflation steals from you. It robs you. People here in Australia, they're looking at house prices and go, oh wow, I bought a house and it's gone up 30% in the last 6 months. No, you have 30% inflation. You don't know what you're thinking of. You don't know what you're doing. You don't understand what's going on. I mean, not that I'm an expert, but I can tell you now, it is not a house price increase. It is an actual 30% loss, because you've got to buy another house. If you sold in that market, you still have to buy it. Your wages haven't gone up. The wages in hyperinflation and with high inflation, it doesn't do much. People go into government jobs and they think, oh, I'll be secure in the government. Here I'm living in the ACT. Oh, it's a government town. Oh, the government will be there. No, because the government's answer to hyperinflation is socialism. They don't give you a pay increase. The man I know in Venezuela was telling me, he said, Scott, we had 1 million government workers, we now have 6 million. He said they stare at the ceiling. They were on $6,000 a month. They're on the equivalent of $6 a month. He said, we've had over 1,000,000% inflation. We can't even, like what you earn in a month, you can't buy your food for a day. He said the government workers, nobody wants them because they're just useless at being able to work in the regular world. So he said they're hurting. He said we have mass suicide. We have 15, 20, 30, 40 family members living in one home because they've all lost their homes. We have people lining up for sardines. We don't even eat sardines. They line up for sardines because there's nothing else to eat. You get to the truck and it's sold and you don't get your meal for that day. You can't feed your family that day. It doesn't have to be that way. if we prepare now. But I just tell you, get your eyes off COVID, please. Get your eyes off COVID. COVID is irrelevant. Anti-vaxxing, irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Because I can tell you now, when you're hungry, like I tell you, every anti-vaxxer will be lined up for food. Every anti-vaxxer will take a needle. If they say, you take this needle, we'll give you a steak, they'll take the needle. I promise you, they will take the needle. So, yeah, anyway. We got this thing coming. I'm not going to get into it. We're going to put some videos. The website's probably half done. A lot of resources there. It's pulling in a global community, and we're gonna pastor the world. We're gonna bring life where there's death, and we're gonna be ready, because we can be ready, and you will be ready. And I tell you what, the Spirit of God community is the best answer there is. Stay tuned.